The question was asked, is there any plan if the Highway 130 was to be impacted or affected? Yes. We have been, as you know, this is not the first time an eruption has presented with this type of a presentation. If you look at even as recent as 2007, we had an eruption in the same general area that raised the same questions. And yes, with each one of these events, there has been a review and a development of contingency plans for alternate routes. And it's very premature to say what those routes would be without knowing where the flow would actually go. It's just letting you know that we have been working with our partners, State Highways, Public Works, to identify what's the easiest way to create those alternate routes, understanding what an impact that would have if it did cross the highway. So again, those plans are in place, and we do have the resources available. It's just very premature to put any of that into action, not knowing where the eruption might be going.
If the lava continues 100 feet a day in the same direction, how long will it take to get to Highway 130?
Well, we could figure that out mathematically. The difficult thing that Dr. Jim will tell you is it hasn't been consistent. It's been varying. So we'd hate to throw out a time frame. One, create fear, that is, we don't want to do that. And two is we don't want people looking, okay, now it's not doing anything and then forget about it. Part of tonight and part of the meetings going forward is we want everybody to remain aware of what's happening, not to cause any fear or anxiety, but just, again, let us keep telling you what's happening and pay attention to the information, because we don't want anybody not knowing what's happening in their backyard.
Can you come to the meeting at hospital? Can you come to the meeting at hospital and officer?
Sorry, answer your question. Constituents of
Hey,
Pune.
Billy, aloha. I was in Kuwait. Wait.
First things first.
Okay.
Give plenty time. I'm not going nowhere. If you want to come talk to me, happy to
No,
talk.
no, but I want to talk to you because I'm a little worried.
Okay, you guys, I was in Kuwait. No, I know. But Billy, can you come to the meeting? Will you come to the meeting at hospital?
You give up the mic, I might come to the meeting. You know what? We can talk right here. You guys, let us honor Dr. Jim Kawahikawa from Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, who's done an outstanding job. Had a meeting last night with Kaohe residents. We'll be here twice more this week. You guys, this is about information, sharing, exchanging, being informed, making good planning decisions. Nobody dodging anything. We're happy to talk. We have a civil defense administrator, second to none. You guys, we're very proud. Not perfect, but we love this community and we'll work hard to address it. Let's focus on the flow. Let's focus on preparation, questions that pertain to what can we do, what should we do, how often we can exchange information, how do we get better information, what are some of the avenues or mediums we'll use to get you guys that info, regular radio updates, update the website. Every day we're gonna get some update from daily flyover, volume, direction. That's the goal here. I would miss the conversation because I was out being asked other questions.
I'm just asking you, can you come to the meeting at hospital about the hurricane? Because we have
When is that going to be? I love Haas, love Steve, love all the kids over there.
Is it August 30th? Is anybody here?
Yeah. When is the 30th? Saturday. Oh, I get the Sail Foundation dinner and one birthday for an 80-year-old kupuna.
About the geothermal vent. I live in Leilani. I want to hear about it.
Okay, we're happy to answer questions. You guys, I'm going to turn the mic back over to the experts. Excuse me?
The exact escape and evasion plan.
Well, number one,
It gets cut. Where are we going to go?
we're exploring that options right now as we speak.
Exploring them.
Absolutely, every day. We're sitting around when Dr. Jim first notified us of the output and the advancement of the flow and the direction, right? We're at the point now where a lot of things can happen with the direction of the flow, with the volume of the output. Like Dr. Jim said, it went into a lava tube. What they're looking at in this area is that this whole segment has a series of channels, little crevices and channels. Like I'm from Kalapana. When the lava flow finally took us in Kalapana, wasn't because the flow came at Kalapana, it was because Kapao, it had filled up. It had gone for so long that the direction was forced to turn because the lava had filled up every other crevice. What we're talking about right now is the flow. The reason we had a conversation, exploring options and alternatives is because the flow took on added volume and it picked up its advancement, as geologists talk. Advancement means moving fast, right? For us guys, like, hey, what you mean rapid advancement or increased advancement? What they're saying is that this flow is moving really fast. When we talk about options and alternatives, we're talking, what if it moves at 100 meters a day in its current direction? How long before Kaohe Homestead? How long before Pahoa? It could go 130 meters a day, could go 50 meters, could stop. So everything is on the table. You know what? Talking story and information solves problems, right? Yeah, so what we're trying to do with the best resources we have available, what this is information and education outreach, right? Letting people know. It reaches a point where you don't want to say too early because it just might stop and nothing happen. You don't want to alarm folks unnecessarily. But it's reached a point where it's imperative that we share the information, how much lava is coming out, where it's coming out at, where is the farthest advancement, and what are some of the potential directions it could go. This lava could hit one of these channels and ridges, head down to Kalapana. It could go into the lava flow and go a large volume and disappear. It could reemerge. Right now we're trying to track it in the tube by smoke and trying to track it, but it could pop up anywhere. But what is concerning, and correct me, Dr. Jim, in our briefing, was that the source is not slowing down. So that's the alarming part. When we ask direction of flow, speed of flow, potential areas of impact, we ask, how is it at the source? Hawaii Volcanoes Observer is telling us it's not slowing down at the source. That being the case, the question is, where does it go? Right now, it's above Kaohe Homestead. So last night, Dr. Jim and Darryl did a briefing for about 60 members of Kaohe Homestead residents. Tonight is a greater community meeting. They'll be doing it tomorrow night and Thursday as well, I believe. So we're here to answer factual questions, direction, flow. But again, the challenge is when you look at the source, it's pumping a lot of lava. So we're crossing our fingers that it hits, that it vanishes. But these channels, as I understand it, when the lava hits it, what it does is it narrows it, which means it'll go faster. It'll narrow, it could fill up and then change direction. Like Dr. Jim said, it's in the tube. If it doesn't heat the tube properly before it moves, it's not going to flow through the tube. It's going to clog and plug. So we're hoping for the best, but as you said, we're exploring options involving what happens if. And that includes going through Chain of Craters Road, looking at alternate access, Makai. It involves everything. We're talking about potentially devastating impacts in Lower Puna. So that's the information we have now. A lot of what if this and what if that calls for some speculation. We want to limit that as much as possible, but also involve conversations of what if, what if, what if. So I'll hand it over to Chief Darryl, and any questions. Do we have a facilitator, somebody to, can I ask one of us staff who's here? I know we have staff in the crowd. Can somebody step up? Karen, when people raise their hands, can you touch them or at least identify 1, 2, 3, 4? Because I don't want somebody to hold their hand, put their hand down, and then somebody else gets called. So just so you don't have to hold your hand up the whole time. If I can get another staffer, I saw somebody out back there, Kevin. Can you step in? Help identify people with questions so they get called in their appropriate order. Just so we're fair. Clarice, you're back there too. Just identify people so they don't need to hold their hands in the air, and we'll start up front and move back. Yes, ma'am.
This is just this one flow. A year from now, it could be a flow coming from another direction. We're in a fragile area. And what I would like to know is, I know how money is involved in clearing roads and all that. What I want to know is, for all of us, let's say our homes are not destroyed, and we love to, and we want to stay here. Are you committed financially? The state is committed that no matter where that flow goes, the people who are still here who have not lost their homes can stay here, and you will bulldoze our way out to food, water, and gas. Thank you.
That's a very nice question. Basically, she said, no matter what happened, we're going to take care of everybody. And you know what, you guys? I just want to say this in answer to your question. You know, I'm from here, all of us from here, and we saw the outpouring of support post the sale. You know, even the workers at Helco, they're from here. You know those linemen and women who were out there nonstop? They're from this island. We friends and neighbors and family and classmates and cousins, and I kissing aunties back there. We're not going to let nobody, down. We're here because we love our community. Daryl, nobody went home and slept the first few days. Not because we had to, not because we were writing down hours. It's because we love this island and we like to protect everybody. Everybody. So we're exploring all options to just what you said. Keep people safe. Find viable options and alternatives that would allow people in and out. But right now, like you said, it's Madam Pele, and I've witnessed amazing things happen in Kalapana. So we got to pray and we got to aloha. And so, but yes, we'll do whatever we can. Next question. Okay, one here and then two there. Okay.
Clarifying question. Is the rate of flow 100 feet per day, or what is the correct rate of flow? I know it varies. Approximately what is it?
Well, that's actually slowed down over the last, 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And I can't actually give you a number, but it's on the order of a couple of 300 feet a day.
300 feet per day on that order of magnitude?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Second thing, just a reminder, Madam Pele loves gin and tonics.
So do I.
Promise.
Can they notify you of who they are? I get a couple older aunties that need to be notified if there's an emergency. How do we get them to let you know where they're at so you can come and get them out if there's an emergency here right now?
How do we, with particular subdivisions like Kohi in particular, who have seniors, who have people maybe disabled, need assistance? That's exactly one of the messages we shared with them last night. We asked every one of you, in every subdivision, if you know your neighbors and someone needs assistance during times of emergencies, please let us know. Because nothing is worse than in the middle of the crisis trying to figure that out. Again, you know the people in your community. Please share the information with us. I know the Kohi people here last night did say they would go back and identify those special needs people in their communities. And they've shared, just as we've asked you to sign up. If you're not signed up on our notification list, please, it's circulating so we can keep you informed. But ever you see somebody that needs special help, let us know.
Thank you. It's a great question. And again, in every emergency, you guys, please notify us of our neighbors. Me and Karen were down in Kehena, and they notified us of a woman, Kupuna, who had medical attention. We went to the house, but people had already got her to the hospital. Elderly activities, Office of Aging, we try to overlay maps of our seniors and people in medical conditions. But those in the subdivisions, you know best, the neighbors who need, just let us know. We all work closely. We'll send people right away to go and protect them. But that's a great idea. Thanks, great question.
Yes, so the question is asked, when will we tell you what are the routes that would be used for an evacuation? And part of it hinges on where is the lava flow actually going to go. If it turns in some direction, it may be affecting a different community. And probably the best thing I can say is we will give you lots of warning, lots of notice. It'll be days' notice. It won't be hours. It'll be days' notice of if it's posing any threat to a particular community, not only where the evacuation routes would be, but how we would be securing. As an example, and again, as an example, this is not a forecast of what could happen, but as we shared with the Kohi Homesteads subdivision folks last night, if there was any threat to that subdivision, we would be working with them well in advance. What would be the evacuation plan for that subdivision, which includes working with the mayor's office, designating or requesting a designation of an emergency situation. We would then restrict access and limit access only to the residents trying to evacuate. again, out of respect for them, trying to do what they need to do to make it as easy and safe and comfortable as possible, as well as to respect their right that, it's going to be, I hope it doesn't happen, that the eruption continues and affects the community. But should it, as we've seen in Kalapana, it is a slow, painful process if it enters a subdivision. People will be watching their life savings basically threatened every day. We want to respect that. So we want to allow them the privacy, both for safety reasons and for the evacuation, but also, again, for respect of their property. So all I can say is we will give you great notice if there's going to be any discussion of evacuation and what those routes would be, and make sure those routes would be safe for you. We're not going to walk away after these meetings. We'll continue to work with the communities, especially once you have an indication, again, which direction it may be going and what communities may be at risk. But definitely work with the closest communities that may be at risk. I'm not sure what a yellow gate, I can show you later on the map, but I can tell you from the lava where it is now to the fringes of Kohi, it's approximately 2 miles. No, so rather than a question, a statement that if the community was isolated, you have to be working at ways not only to give you access and egress if there was an evacuation, but the long term. As the mayor pointed out, we've been having discussions, again, hypothetical, I gotta throw these eyes, this is just for talk and discussion, it's not a forecast. But even discussion about reestablishing Chain of Craters Road if it did cut off communities and that was the only alternative going around. It would be definitely, I'd say, not gonna say otherwise, it'd be inconvenient, it'd be challenging, it'd be very difficult. We already know that this community, many people who live in this area commute for work, long distances. Can you imagine if someone living in the Kalapana area now has to go through Chain of Craters to add that to their commute for work, to get groceries, just normal, you need to get health care. So we're very appreciative of that, and we're going to do everything we can if we need to create alternate routes to make it as easy and as convenient. But we may be limited to what we can do. I'm not sure who's, gentlemen.
Yes. What's your plan for diverting it?
Good question. Again, the question is a plan for diversion. One of the conversations that I'll be having very shortly is with leadership in the Hawaiian community. Very sensitive and appreciative of the cultural component to an eruption. Discussions of any diversion will be done with sensitivity to that. But
If it doesn't work, what's your other plan? Now I know they did it in when it flowed into Hilo, and they blew a hole in it and it kind of diverted it. So do you have options on that?
yes, and again, once we maybe have those conversations and identify what might be acceptable, what might be a respectful way to consider diversion, it's then bringing in the technology that exists today that, as you point out, didn't exist in the 1940s where they last tried a diversion. There's other resources and things we can try. And it'd be premature for me to tell you what those might be without having that discussion with the Hawaiian community about the sensitive cultural side of this. But we are looking at that as an option because we understand, I think everybody understands the impact that this could present with. Sure.
Everything's on the table.
Yes.
We're talking about everything.
Yes, ma'am.
The Puna district is one of the fastest growing districts in Hawaii, and with our propensity for having hurricanes, earthquakes, lava, geothermal disasters, and we have one road taking us to Hilo, and that's 130. When is the county going to give it an alternative route besides 130 all the way down to Hilo for this district?
All the time.
The whole side of the county.
Well, we, of course, there's Puna Makai alternate route that's been talked about, that we've tried to put money aside. The question becomes, that's a good question. We got to condemn, we've got to purchase property, we've got to cut our way through. To be very realistic talking about today, that's not going to be a solution to the challenge we currently face.
Well, can we still get a promise it's going to be moving on? We're growing.
We've submitted a request for that funding. We've gone to the state to ask them for their support to also go through the Puna Butch Raid all the way through. How many lots between each block? 20, 40 per side? I need 40 landowners to say yes, 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 and yes. And then cut through shipment, or it's a condemnation. Hey, we're trying to build roads all around this island. I'm not going to sit here and make a promise that we cannot keep or that's unrealistic or create one expectation that is false. Just getting from Maku'u to Paradise, Paradise to Kaloli, Kaloli over to Shawa, that's 40 landowners each in agreement, 20 lots each side. I need 40, 80, 120 people said. So there's condemnation. I'm just saying there's a process in place. Hey, if I could be mayor like that, I would right there. Just push them through, but no can. There's a process in place, there's costs. It's all being explored. It's not an excuse, it's just in fact. The bottom line is we've got one highway that connects Lower Puna to KL and the rest of our community. That's the challenge that this lava flow poses to our community. And tonight we're trying to focus on alternatives and options and information relating to this flow and realistically what we can do in the short term. But thank you for your question.
I'd like to add just to that you might view these coastal routes as an option, but think about it. If lava flows are going to go across Highway 130, what's to stop them from continuing to the ocean? And so, I'm sure the mayor has to balance all of that out. It's just a reality of living on an ocean where all the land slopes into the ocean. I mean, all of this area from here across is in some way downslope of Pahoa. And it's all a question of how energetic the lava gets. We could be in the last 10 years of Pahoa, or it could be the start of the next 30, who knows? So I think we all have to be kind of realistic about the situation and the options here.